Hello, welcome to another tonalist landscape oil painting demonstration. This is your painter in residence, M. Francis McCarthy, and the painting I'm bringing you today is called River at Dusk. It's a 5x7. Painted this last week. Might do a glaze or something on it. I don't know. It's a sepia thing. So, what's the story? Well, this is based on some random screenshot I took of some random video, which I try not to do. I try to always take my own photographic reference, but it just caught my eye quickly as I was watching the video. Paused the video, shot a screenshot, and then I'm looking for something to paint the other day, something small, something I could do, without taking a lot of time. And I saw that one and I thought, yeah, I really feel like doing it sepia. Sepia. So the colors that I used in this were, I'm thinking raw umber. I'm not actually looking at a picture of it. Let's go. I know I should have my. I don't have my act together. It's not professional. Oh no. Uh, yeah, a little bit of yellow ochre, some titanium white, um, burnt umber, raw umber, those kinds of things. Didn't get into the, as red an area as, burnt sienna. Um, so that's what's up with this painting. But what I want to talk about today is sort of direct painting versus indirect painting. And this gets into something. Somebody popped in my studio this morning and were like, oh, I was doing oil painting. He says, but I can't deal with the drying times. I don't have any patience, etc., and so on and so forth. Which, let's face it, that's just his excuse for not painting. And we can make infinite excuses for not doing things that we might like to do. In fact, I have to say, the bulk of my students that I've had out here, there's been some notable exceptions, but most of them are just really all about finding reasons not to work. And that could be you too. This could be a delaying tactic right now, you watching this video. If it is, watch the rest of the video because I got good information for you. But after that, turn it off. Go to your easel, put a board on there, and then just start making a painting. You'll really feel better about yourself. We have to watch out for these traps we get into. But I'm not going to lecture you extensively about that. But you know where I stand. And anyway, that was our first sidebar. But the main thing I really want to talk about is like putting your painting together. And so what I said to this guy is he pointed at a painting on the wall. He's like, oh, that must have taken days. And I'm like, no, that took me about 3 or 4 hours. It was a small painting. I says, I painted it in one session. He says, because this is my thing. I say I like things to be fresh, and there's always a risk of overworking things when you put them back on the easel. Now, if you've been with me for any length of time, you already know about this, and if you've been painting for any length of time, you probably already experienced this, or maybe you haven't reached that point where you can look at your own work and say, oh my gosh, I really killed it. I had it so much better at this or that point. And videotaping your work will definitely help you with that because you'll see those points in the painting process where you should have stopped. You could have stopped, but you kept going. You had cool things that, maybe one little thing wasn't cool, but there was a bunch of other things that were cool, and they all ended up getting lost in the process because once you start slapping the paint around, your tendency is to keep going. And what's the way out of that? Well, okay, well, know that it can happen. That's the first way. Know that this can happen to anyone, and that it's not just possible but probable. If I have something I'm going to put back up on the easel, these days I try to be very strategic. I try to have a very set outline, but also mostly because I've messed up so many times, felt that sting, that I'm extra cautious now. So it's not as big a deal, but even then, even still, it's better for me and my work to make a fresh statement. And sometimes you go to make a fresh statement and you fail. So not every painting you're going to do is going to be awesome. But you really, at least if you're going after my kind of thing, you're better off with that fresh statement. Pretty much a la prima. Most of my work these days is for the most part alla prima. Back in the when I first came out to New Zealand, I was going through 5 and 6 steps. I was you couldn't really even see my brush strokes. Everything became really gauzy and hazy. And those paintings, some of them were quite nice. It's certainly a legitimate approach. It might be your approach, so I'm not dissing you. I'm more talking just about what's up with me. Over time, though, I got into just trying to make a good, fresh statement, and that's where it's at. Because, well, that's another thing, an idea that I've communicated not even that long ago is like you're not the same person today as you were yesterday. Very similar, and you have this continuity of being, a continuity of existence. You have memories, but you're not really exactly the same person. You're slightly different. And give it a week, give it a month, give it a year, those differences add up. And this is one of the reasons I don't know about you, but I don't know if I could even go back and do the sorts of paintings I was doing 10, 12 years ago. Maybe I could if I applied a lot of artifice and discipline. Yeah. So the direct statement. So painting direct is painting alla prima. You put the board up on the easel and you try and do it all in one go. One of the people that was kind of famous for doing this was Whistler, and you look at his work and you would think, whoa, how could you do all that in one go? Well, he either did it in one go or he scraped it off and did it again. He had the model come in and pose again. Yeah. Which is very interesting, isn't it? And sort of frustrating if you were the model. But what he would end up with was this kind of hazy ghost image on his canvas, which he could refer to. So that's kind of clever. And, you cannot measure your own self against Whistler since he was pretty extraordinarily singular as far as artists go and individuals. Yeah. Anyway, I just want to talk a bit about. So what's indirect? Hey, you say, okay, well, you mentioned indirect. Well, indirect might be, let's say you work out a drawing, you transfer your drawing onto the board, you outline it, you start working in. Most of the masters worked in an indirect way, where they would do the whole painting, say, with a mix of white and raw umber, or black and white. They would wait for that to dry, and then they would start glazing in their colors, and then after glazing the colors, they would start rubbing in successively more bits of opaque color. And that's how you get that old master look. That's the soul of indirect painting. What I prefer to do is like you just saw here in this painting, I did a rough little drawing, kind of underpainting, and then I just jump right in. There are times that I might do that underpainting and just let it dry, like say the piece is a little larger, or I'm getting started late that day and I don't have time to do a whole painting. Even then, even though that could technically be called indirect, my approach is still fairly direct because I'm not going to be doing a bunch of modeling that is going to be glazed afterwards. And I used to do tons of glazing, and glazing is pretty much the soul of an indirect technique because the painting's got to be dry. You can't glaze a wet painting. That's called wiping a painting off. you know. Anyway, I just wanted to chat a bit about that. The other thing is like I was just watching some videos on the YouTube of other painters and things, and I tend to work quite directly. I put something down. And the way I do it is like a value approach. If you notice, I get my drawing set up, and then I do the sky, and then I go into the landforms with the darkest value, and then the next value, and work my way up to the lights. This painting, not really an exception, but if I have water in the scene, to me, I treat that exactly the same as the sky. So I'll paint the sky, then I'll paint the water, then I'll do the landforms and land shapes. And in the sky, a lot of times I work the same way. I'll put the darkest clouds in. If there's actual like blue sky or a lot of actual sky tone, like say not everything's just covered with clouds like in this one, I will tend to work in with the darkest cloud shapes first. and build successfully out to my light. So dark to light, dark to light. That's how I do it. That's my strategy, and there's no good reason to change that because actually the one I was working on, working on an NS study for you. I'm going to have it, and actually I have to go indirect on this one, and I'll save all my talking and strategies about that for that painting, which will be, in a week or so. But suffice to say, once it dawned on me that I was going to have to do a second pass, the sorts of things I did was I worked with earth pigments. I worked quite thin, and I'm gambling that the painting will be dry enough I can give it a quick coat of liquid and a glaze and then finish it. So I believe I will. Hopefully it won't streak, and I have strategies for that. That will be that one will be using Indirect, and the reason for that was because that's what I need to do to pull off that painting. And quite often what I do with like the NS stuff is I just try to pull off the NS thing in a direct way. Instead of doing a glaze, I'll mix a color that would approximate the glaze. And the reason I do that, of course, is all of this stuff I just told you about direct versus indirect. Um, but I like to make direct statements. So I put in that dark, and that's the dark. I put in the medium, that's the medium. I put in the light, that's the light. Then I may have to restate some dark. So I may have to make the lights even lighter or things like that. But what I don't tend to do is just pick at things. Um, every now and again I will break things up, say with a paper towel. Sometimes you'll see me doing that. Sometimes not. It all depends. My approach on this particular painting was just get in, get out. And I'm pretty happy with the way it turned out. Actually, I'm quite happy with it. I think it's an attractive little painting. It's a 6 by 8. Oh, it's a 6 by 8. I wrote 5 by 7. So what's the difference between a 6 by 8 and a 5 by 7 other than the size? A 6 by 8 is a little more squarish as a proportion. This little dark tree you see me painting now, that was one of the things that really caught my eyes in the reference. And then I'm kind of wrapping things up in the painting. I'm thinking, oh, I want my dark tree back. So one thing that might look nice in this painting would be to give it a quick swipe with the like Indian yellow, or maybe better even transparent earth yellow from Gamblin, which is a lovely color. Maybe, maybe not. Sometimes I just like the integrity of my initial effort, you know. There was one I did about a month or so ago. It was just like this, a sepia one, and the whole video I'm talking about how I'm going to do a glaze in the live session. By the way, this is in the live area. It's only an hour and 20 minutes, so it's a great one to watch in real time. And I'll talk about a lot of these topics I'm talking about today, and maybe a lot of other things too. Really, those are great because they're in the heat of the moment, you know. So while we're at the tail end of this video, I can hopefully, you know, well, you get a lot of value from the 15, hopefully. By the way, if you ever have any questions or anything, you can always leave me a question in the comments area. Some people do, but you may not be aware of that. Or if it's more in depth, you can drop me an email at my landscapepainter.co.nz site. People do, and I'm always, pretty timely with my responses. I'm here to help, and I appreciate you coming around and stuff too. Yeah. I was telling my student. You can tell I do a lot of editing here, right? I was telling my current student about the last show I had, which was like in July of last year. Oh, and thank goodness for that, because we were all up in lockdown in August or whatever. So we and I had some decent sales in that show, and a lot of them what sold was the paintings I had done from the Earth Tone series, and she's been working a lot with the Earth Tones and really, really loves it. And because they're beautiful as underpaintings, but they're also beautiful on their own, And you can always glaze this up. You could definitely go into a more naturalistic feeling. Although one of the things I pointed out to her is like, if you want to go into blue and things, it can be quite difficult working over browns to get pretty nice blues. I could turn this into a sunset I could go back in the studio this afternoon and turn into a sunset in about 10, 15 minutes just with power glazing. Yeah. And sometimes I do that. And then the one I just brought up, I was going to do that, but after living with the painting for a while as an earth tone painting, no, I really like you as an earth tone. I don't need to glaze you into sunset land. And hopefully, no one called me out on that. No one ever said on the channel, "Hey, where's our sunset version?" You know. Well, there have been a few times where people have asked me to do studies after various masters, and lots of times I've definitely tried. There are times where I tried and just didn't like the painting and so wasn't able to accommodate the request. But you can ask me for anything you like. Maybe that I'll discover a new artist or something. Anyway, we're getting kind of close to the end of the video, and I really appreciate you spending the time to watch this video today. This painting will be for sale in my store, so you can go check that out. And I'll be back real soon. Actually, the next video that will be up will be a really nice study of an Ines in what for me is a brand new proportion to paint in, so pretty exciting. It's Tuesday today, so I've got a few days for it to dry, finish drying, maybe one more day. I'm gonna try liquid it and then finish it off. So stay tuned for that. And until I do come back with another video for you, I want you to do me a favor, do me a solid, and that would be to take very good care of yourself, your family, all your loved ones. Do your best to try and love and understand your enemies, and try and understand the opinions and viewpoints of people that differ from your own, because you don't know everything, okay? None of us do. There's a lot to learn for all of us. Anyway, until I come back with another video, do me a favor, do me a solid. Take good care of yourself and stay out of trouble. God bless you and your family.